Okay, at this point you might be asking a very reasonable question. Why is factoring useful? Why on earth would I ever want to do this? Well, in general, factoring breaks large numbers down into smaller numbers, which makes them easier to work with. It's always easier to work with small numbers than it is to work with larger numbers. For example, the greatest common divisor of two numbers is the largest number which evenly divides both. If the numbers are factored, this can be found just by circling common factors. Let's do a simple example. Let's say we want to know what is the GCD, greatest common divisor, of, let's say, 80 and 100. Well, let's break it up. What is 80? 80 is, 8 times 10. The 10 is 2 times 5. The 8 is what? 4 times 2. The 4 is 2 times 2 times 2. So that's what 80 is. 80 is 4 2's and a 5 all multiplied together. What is 100? 100 is what? 10 times 10, which is 2 times 5 times 2 times 5. Okay, so now these numbers are factored. Now we can say, well, let's see. Circle things they have in common. They both have a 2. Great. 2 is a number that divides both of them. 2 goes in, 80 can be divided by 2, 100 can be divided by 2. 2 is a common divisor. It's a divisor of both. They share it in common. It's not the greatest common divisor. They also have a 5 in common. 2 times 5 is 10. Both 80 and 100 can be divided by 10. Still not the greatest common divisor because there's also another 2 in both. But that's it. This one has a 5. This has no 5s to share with it. So 2 times 5 times 2, which is what? 10 times 2, 20, is the GCD, the greatest common divisor. What does this say? This says 20 is the largest number that evenly divides 80 and 100. This means that if Larry cuts his hair every 80 days and Sam cuts his hair every 100 days, then if there was a barber shop that was open only every 20 days, it would be able to take care of both Larry and Sam, because that would be the least amount of time the barbershop could ever be open, but still be there for both of these guys. Not necessarily the greatest of examples, but so be it. Let's say we already had the numbers factored. Let's say we had 2 times 7 times 3 times 3 times 11, and you also had 2 times 2 times 5 times 3 times 17. And you said, hey, what is the largest number that divides both of them? And you'd say, well, they both have a 2 in them. They both have a 3 in them. That has 17. That's not the same thing as 7. This one has a 7. This one doesn't. This one has a 3. This one doesn't. This one doesn't. That's it. So 6. 6 is the 2 times 3, which is 6, is the largest number. I'll call it GCD. It's the largest number that divides whatever the heck this thing is, 14 times 9 times 11, and also divides 20 times 3 times 17. That is one cool thing that you can do. You can find the greatest common divisor very easily.